What? Did you don't touch me on my stadium? Come on! Come here! Come!
City's
Come
number
out of
one.
your box. Nah.
Tshwane FM. 93.6. City's number one radio station.
I don't know whether members want to play politics. Firstly, people every day say something about President Zuma in this country. Should I stand every day, take everybody to court? You say a lot of things about me. Should I do so? If I were
you can take me to court.
He's answering you, Honorable Malema. Point Honorable Malema, it's not your turn. Honorable Malema. Point of order. Honorable Malema.
This is our house.
No, Honorable Malema, you have asked your question.
Against me. You can take action against
I don't take actions against people like yourself, generally. I don't do it.
Tshwane FM. 93.6. City's number one radio station. Tshwane FM is taking over Pretoria. Tshwane FM. 93.6.
Revolutionaries must not disabuse themselves of the notion that the DA and EFF, the revolutionaries must disabuse themselves of the notion that the DA and EFF coalition governments are going to collapse under the heavy pressure of policy and political contradictions. In the first instance, nowhere in the world does there exist a coalition between a neoliberal and pseudo-leftist political party. This is a coalition that should never have happened, but it has happened. And we must expect that those that pull the strings of these political movements will never allow any amount of political bickering among their puppets to jeopardize a moment.
Minister of Islam, point of order.
Honorable Gigama, please take your seat.
Firstly, there is no collision. It's coalition. It's not collision. That means something different.
Thank you very much.
But secondly, a point of order is that the EFF is not in any coalition government with anybody. He's deliberately misleading the House and he's out of order. This is not Instagram. Get your facts straight or step aside. We're not on social media here. Don't mislead the nation.
Thank you very much.
To speak nothing else.
That is a speech now, Honorable Josie, please.
Thanks, Chair.
Point of order, Chair. No, point of order. Yes. Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Josie.
I just wanted to respectfully register that the idea of wanting to sow internal divisions in the EFF will never succeed.
Honorable Josie.
Not by Minister.
Honorable Josie, you know very well what the point of. Honorable Josie, please sit down. Honorable members, I don't think we need to remind ourselves about what a point of order is and what a debate is. Please. You know you are doing something you shouldn't be doing. Honorable members, order. That concludes the debate. The next item on the order paper is a motion in the name of the Chief Whip of the majority party. Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Honorable Malema.
I never thought I would live for a day where the ANC is.
Honorable Malema, what are you raising on?
Vote.
What are you
This is an
raising
exciting
on?
day.
Honorable Malema, what are you raising?
Of Instagram fighting for EFF vote.
Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, House Chair.
Chair, on a point of order.
What point of order, Honorable?
No, you forgot Honorable Balagambet, because she has been doing door-to-door a lot.
Honorable Member.
She should be on the speaking list as well, to come and share her perspective.
Honorable members, can we please uphold the decorum of the House? I know you've been missing each other.
On Tshwane FM 93.6.
South Africa. It's 5:07 after 6 o'clock. Tshwane FM 93.6 is exactly where you are. Thank you so much for your listening pleasure. I am your news pioneer, Mokete Radebe. I'm with you just until the hour 8 p.m. This is the Capital Talk. We're doing this every Monday till Thursday between the hours 6 and 8 p.m. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight. I know the tradition is on Thursdays. We look at everything in sport. But for today, we are not going to be looking at sport. We continue with socio-psychological aspects of the Capital Talk, and a number of things on our list. And just starting up, we'll be looking at what's happening really in terms of property with Tony T. And on the flip side, the blonde lawyer will be coming through to speak to us about the Competition Commission hiking prices and Uba's refusal to appear before the Zondo Commission. She's on time today. Bourgeois, okay, just 2 minutes before.
Wow.
Maybe, perhaps it's because of alcohol has been, allowed to be sold properly. She's at the house. You know who I'm talking about. 20. Wow. How are you, my brother?
I'm blessed. That's all I can say.
Please take your mic, refill.
How?
Okay, well, sanitize the feeling now.
Yes. Can I sanitize everybody?
Yeah, it's your father's birthday today.
Yes.
Is he listening to the show?
He's not, but I will show it to him.
What would you show to him?
I'm gonna make him listen to my birthday shout out when I make it.
Oh, okay. You wanna make a birthday shout out?
Yes.
It's part of your script for today, ne?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Do that.
Are you gonna sing for him?
No.
Oh, why not?
We already had a singing session at home. We already had a.
This one is meant for you.
No.
What if you want at home?
Please
Yes.
draw the mic closer to you. We know that it's your father's birthday. It's not your birthday.
Please. Technically, it is my birthday.
Put one fair.
Yes.
You know, women. Israel, how are you though?
I'm good, thanks.
Are you proper?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Just go next to Tony so we can see the camera. That's good.
Okay.
That's proper. That's proper. Awesomeness. It's a Thursday. How have you guys been?
Yeah.
Tony T, how has your week been thus far?
Well, my week has been good until today,
Yeah.
I showed you a video, that shows that today I actually got to reflect to see that God does exist. I'm not saying that I didn't believe, but today was just proof that He wants me to do a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
The fact that I saw my tire that it was finished,
Sure.
it shows what I could have been in a coma, I could have been in an accident.
Yeah.
The fact that nothing happened shows that God still wants me to do a number of things that I lined up for Him.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
We become so used to the persona of God so much that we forget the fundamental thing of saying thank you every morning when we wake up.
Exactly.
So much so that even when we get blessings, the blessings become too much to us that we even use them as an excuse not to actually thank Him, worship Him, and appreciate Him on a daily basis.
Yes.
So we had a meeting at church. When was it? Yeah, this week. And there's one thing that the pastor said, and I found that to be quite profound. And he says, this is the time for us to not use our strengths to expose the weakness of others. That we need to appreciate the fact that we're in a position of influence, a position of power, a position of strength, because God wanted us to be that way. This is not for us to try and outsmart and outshine those that are in a moment of weakness or those that appear weak to us, And I found that to be quite profound because normally other church leaders would want to expose the weakness of others. For instance, with the restrictions, when they say 50 people, one would say, but now my capacity, my church takes about 50,000 people. Why 50? And he was actually saying that we need to also think about the churches where the they can only bring about 100 people. What about those, where they don't have the resources to comply with the restrictions? And I found that to be quite profound, because something that we hardly see. And it's very important. I hope to the listener at home as well to say, in our pursuit of success, our pursuit for happiness, let it not be at the expense of trying to outsmart other people or to appear way better than others, even those that were against us when we're still in our place of weakness. We doing that actually just makes us to be, another version of them, of those that we hated. Exactly. It's 2 minutes after 7 o'clock. The preaching is done.
Yeah.
Before we jump into property, news that are making headlines. Khoza Mantashe told MPs to always side with Zuma or they'd be disciplined. Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has said that the former African National Congress Secretary General Mokete Mantashe told members of parliament to forget about a constitutional court judgment and act in accordance with ANC principles and unity with the former president Jacob Zuma. Otherwise, they will be disciplined. This regards the constitutional court ruling when Zuma was still president. It stated that the speaker had the constitutional power to prescribe a secret ballot in a motion of no confidence against the president. Former ANC MP Mokete Radebe told the State Capture Commission that Mantashe led the crusade to tell MPs that they couldn't vote with their conscience and they had to toe the party line. According to Mokete Radebe, Mantashe said anyone who sought to uphold the rule of law will be severely punished. And she is a living example of that, because Mokete Mantashe didn't only make the statement, but he went further and acted on it, and he fired her. True. Radebe said Mantashe made sure that the ANC threatened MPs to vote for Zuma in a motion of no confidence, even though the Concord had said the speaker could decide to run a secret ballot. Yeah, this is amazing. I know we were talking about that in the flip side with Refido then. But I think more who's for us. And, I think yesterday we mentioned that Greyhound had stopped operating after 37 years of service. But furthermore, bus company Patco is set to retrench around 214 staff members as a result of financial distress. In a statement released today afternoon, the bus service said this came as a result of scaled down operations brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting decline in passenger numbers, additional costs for buying personal protective equipment, and the disinfecting buses after each trip added to the financial burden. Managers said they'd met with government as well as the Southern African Bus Operators Association since March last year to request financial relief, but had been unsuccessful in their efforts. Patco spokesperson Pride Anozi said they ended up losing quite a few passengers, and as a company, they need to align their expenditure with their reduced income. It is not something they are happy with, but unfortunately for the sustainability of the company, that is the process they have to undergo. The move comes after bus company Greyhound Cityliner announced on yesterday, that it will also be shutting down after operating for over 40 years. For around 40 years, the bus services last trip will be on 14 February. Valentine, so people will know what a Valentine is the last time you can, use this bus. As more provinces are expected to announce the rollout of their coronavirus vaccine plans, the Northern Cape government said it had so far spent around 500 million to combat COVID-19, and Premier Zamani Saul has given an update today on the pandemic's trajectory in the province, saying 6,762 new coronavirus cases were recorded last month. Saul said it was the highest number of infections diagnosed per month since the start of the pandemic. However, the Provincial Department of Health has rolled out a number of interventions to strengthen the public health sector. More than 3,300 beds were prepared to treat COVID-19 patients, including those with ICU and high care capacity. At a cost of 75 million rand, 65 ambulances, 10 patient transport vehicles, and 55 clinical outreach buggies were bought. Now, medical equipment costing around 120 million was also bought. Saul said this included 35 ventilators, 16 blood gas analyzers, 225 CPAP machines, and the 107 automatic defibrillators. At an annual cost of 197 million, 424 clinical professionals, which include doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, have been appointed during this financial year, and this is in the Northern Cape. In other news, SARS officials have made a major bust today seizing rhino horns worth more than 53 million at OR Tambo International Airport. The suspicious shipment destined for Malaysia was noticed during searches conducted by the customs unit. The shipment was taken in for inspection and 18 pieces of rhino horns were found concealed in traditional clothing inside boxes that weighed 63 kilograms. This is the fourth major horn bust by SARS Customs in the space of about 6 months. SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter congratulated the officers for their excellent work in all the busts with an estimated 234 million. And he did mention that that those that are determined to destroy the rich natural endowment of our country, which is a common treasure and heritage for all South Africans, that we should be looking after for future generations, will be met with an unwavering commitment of our officers to enforce the law. That is all that we have for the news at this point in time. It's 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. We'll be jumping into property before we head into the legal segment with Mwana Papa.
Yeah.
Mwana Papa. Tony T, what do we have in property tonight?
So for tonight, firstly, I just want to talk about taking occupation before registration and on registration. So that's the first thing. And then I want to also touch on a couple of reasons as to the importance of why one should have a deposit when buying a property.
Yeah.
So for the first topic, I first want to make this example. So there's this transaction that I'm currently dealing with.
Yeah.
Whereby the son is the one who introduced the mother into property, in the sense of investing into property. So the son is the one who got to see the property, got to do the numbers, everything is sharp. Sharp. So this lady, she called me yesterday. I remember I was in a meeting. She calls me and then she's like, Tony, so I'm about to make that deposit. So what happened was that the purchase price key, let's say R1 million. And then she said that she will pay 500,000 Rand as deposit and the other 500,000 Rand will be bond. So when she calls me, she's like, you know what, I'm at the bank right now. I'm about to deposit the money. Deposit. And then she's like, firstly, just so you know, I don't know you. Your son knows me. And then also she said that the fact that I haven't seen the property, I also want to make sure that I'm actually depositing the money to the right accounts. Sharp, you can confirm the accounts. And then there's this one thing that she said. She said, okay, Tony, since we're sign the documents. So, during the transfer process, there are times whereby the seller and the purchaser go to the conveyancers and they sign the documents for the title deed. So she's like, Tony, when I get to Pretoria, I sign the documents, the key. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Because now she was taking it as though, when you go buy a car, when you get there after signing documents, you class key. Yeah. So now I have to explain to her, no, in property, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
There's something called a transfer process, whereby there's a process that has to happen. You can only get the keys when it registers.
Sure.
Yes. So now it leads me to this topic, occupation. So let's say you do happen to buy a property. Let's say we Iraka January, and there's actually options of when you want to move in. So it can either be before registration.
Sure.
It can be during or on registration.
Yeah.
On registration means you guys will wait for the property to register. Meaning that if it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, you wait.
Sure.
And then you find situations that whereby, let's say in Cape Town, and now you have to come to Pretoria, February. That's where now in the contract will be a date that states that at least the contract age or this registration should be done around about that time of the period. Yeah. So it happens. Sometimes it happens that the person was hoping to take occupation, let's say February, but now February the property hasn't registered. It will register in March. So now what happens is that they'll pay what they call occupational rent, whereby they move into the property before it registers. Yeah. So normally occupational rents, how we normally do occupational rents at SIF is that we would take the purchase price and multiply it by 0.006%. Some sellers would say no, rather let them pay the rent that I would normally rent out the property for. Yeah, so you guys need to take that into account, that if you happen to want to move in before the property registers, there's something you pay called occupational rent. And now in most cases, for the seller to be protected, they would insist that before you actually take occupation, make sure that maybe the documents are signed, the purchase price has been paid if you're buying cash, the deposits have been made, because sometimes you find people buy their occupation before registration, and then discovers the defects. And then he doesn't want to continue with the deal.
Yeah.
So that's another problem. But now to avoid that, it's always important that when you write the offer to purchase, before you write the offer to purchase, make sure that you tend to examine the property, to check what is there anything that might be a potential thing that needs to be fixed. It's very important to note those things down.
So what if for instance, you are buying this property from me, and Nalu and I we're gonna, I mean, I'm not staying at the house. Am I allowed to let the tenant enter before the bond gets registered rather?
Not necessarily. But
Is it
still under
what I
your
want to understand is it good practice for us to have a gentleman's agreement to say she can just enter while we're waiting for the bond to register under her name, or while the process is still busy because the house is empty in any case?
Well, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, what I want to understand is that does it have maybe unintended consequences that we might not be aware of if we were to do that?
Like I said, the problem now, let's say I move into your property or the tenant moves in, and then now I discover defects.
Yeah.
No, and that time we agreed 3 months ago, no, you're buying the property as it is. Now that you moved in Chigi, you want to fix this and that. So it's kind of unfair towards you now.
I hear you.
Because it's a document that we signed.
I hear you.
But then if, let's say, family, maybe you guys can we sign up on the side and then you decide upon that.
Sure. 13 minutes after 7 o'clock. Tshwane FM 93.6. This is exactly where we are, man. My name is Mokete Radebe. I'm your news pioneer. And I'm not going solo. I'm with Tony T. And we're joined by the blonde lawyer. That is Refilwe Manapapa.
Yes.
And she's joining us tonight. It is a lovely Thursday evening, man. It's a throwback Thursday. Great music coming through. Setting up the show, you'd remember we played you something by Beck. The first one was Raphael, or rather the first one wasn't it a lovely tune from them. That was actually Raphael, and the other one was Pluto Weather featuring Digital Clock on that one. 30 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're coming through to you live on Facebook. We're coming through to you live on YouTube. On Facebook, it's Tshwane Space FM Space 93.6, and I'm seeing your comments there. Tabang Alex is saying hello, Tabang. Who's joining us all the way from the University of Pretoria, and on YouTube it is Mokete Radebe there, where we are coming through to live as well. On Instagram it's Mokete_Radebe, and it's also Tshwane FM _official, at Mokete80 on Twitter, and at Tshwane FM on Twitter. Let's keep the great conversations going through. We're talking about property at this point in time. Tonti, please proceed, my very sake.
Yes, so now I want to step into deposits. Before I talk about South Africa, so you go to other countries, maybe such as America, whereby for you to get a bond, there should be a deposit. Fortunately, now in our country, it's possible for you to get 100% bond approval.
Sure.
Meaning that you don't need any deposit or anything like that. But then now that we're experiencing a pandemic, obviously the bank is skeptical, because I was so sure, are you really gonna, pay up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are some instances where they'll ask you. Also, it depends on the purchase price.
Yeah.
So for instance, especially in commercial property in most cases they will request for deposit 20 to about 30%. They can possibly ask for that. But then buying a residential house, it's also going to depend on your affordability. So let's say if it happens that your credit score, your credit rating is not as good, obviously the bank will be like, but then now if you've got a deposit, it shows a level of commitment. So that's my first reason. The importance of a deposit, it shows your level of commitment. Because it shows is actually been saving up for this transaction. What also deposit does is that it reduces the installments drastically. So that's a huge advantage it does.
And this is in property.
In property,
not in every purchase. But the Golo Mbara is
no. Yeah.
Without what you
I've never paid a deposit in my life because I know it doesn't make a difference.
In a car.
Yeah, in a car.
Yeah.
In a car, never.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference?
In property, it does.
Does it make a difference in Lobola?
I think so, yes. I say yes.
In customary law, the customary marriages.
Once they pay you, even if they pay 5 francs, you're married.
Yeah, so, you're good to go instead of they're trapped in a barricade, fat and sit. What does that mean, Vel? I get about Africans. What does fat and sit mean?
Fat and sit.
Fat and
sit.
What is fat and what is
I
that?
I took you and
Yeah.
then we are sitting.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I took you that.
Kind of what's the Zulu word? If I did say.
If I can say, makipisa.
Yeah.
Sakipis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
then, yeah.
keep the advancement of Mchola. I saw in Home Affairs there's actually a section for it.
Cohabitation.
People living like married people.
Mm.
I once saw it. I'm
Yeah,
telling
but
you.
that thing is tricky now because now imagine, let's say you buy a property now and then you decide to sell it, or let's say maybe you die, and then now that partner of yours claims everything. That time your family was expecting.
Yeah, but apparently it's now legal that you cannot stay with a person longer. I think for a specific
Yeah,
period.
there's specific months. There's a period that they not months. There's a period they look at. After that period, you get the benefits of
a spouse.
Yeah.
What if you guys are sharing the rent? Because you as a guy can easily justify. We are friends and they reprimanded her that this are split the rent. That's how I justify it as a guy trying to back out of the situation.
But you know, I always tell people when you go to court, they look at the facts of each matter. So do you know that there are people who are married out of communal property, but they can go to court and actually the court can make an order to say the one spouse, because they will look at the fact that the one spouse can say, but this person was the person making the money. I was just a housewife. I stayed home for years. I had a job and you told me to stay home. And now he wants to divorce me and leave me with nothing. Even though you are married out of community, the court can say, yes, don't give her 50% of your estate, but give her something.
But because I was going out to work, what were you doing?
If the facts show whether you forced this person to stay home and become a housewife and expose her. That's why even with maintenance, if you're going to give somebody a lifestyle where she's flying to Paris every second weekend and then you divorce her and then she's not, that's why people can run to court. And
my sister, my question is,
what if it's blood money?
Well, your black money is going to pay for.
I'm saying I can force, if this thing you forced a neighbor, like women wouldn't cheat or men wouldn't, people wouldn't cheat. So people must not come here and say, force you. There's nothing like force you.
No, but you didn't force her, but you allowed it. You told this person, I want you to raise my kids, stay at home, be a housewife. No.
People do things, but just want a buy-in. So when you get my buy-in, say not going to instruct it. It's like if you want to make a baby, you cannot say a man wanted you to make you for you to make a baby. A good example, and I want us to quickly
actually a good example.
I want us to quickly go back to property. You will hear women saying, "Have you refusal pregnant and you're a teenager? We're in high school." You say, "No, I don't want to keep this baby. It's abortion. This is my body, and I've got a bright future. We're not going to hell." Granted. And then if I, the boy, say no, refusal, keep the child. I mean, don't keep the child. That is abortion. I'm not ready. I'm a schoolboy. In any case, we're not necessarily in a relationship with us. We're just naughty. And when you told me that you are preventing, and maybe for sure you're preventing, but now there's a mistake. The prevention depends on maybe none again in pace, and I was not aware, or whatever the case may be. Right? Let's take it in that fashion, right? Now, refusal says, what if this is my first and only child? And what if I've got I get future complications by doing this abortion? I want you to understand, and I'm not blaming women by the decisions they make on that regard to say, okay, it's my body, and whatnot. But what I want us to be mindful of is, in that regard, when I say, let's keep the child, and now I'm not ready and whatnot, it's your decision, right? But in times where you want the child, and I'm saying, let's keep it, you cannot then turn around and say, you forced me. It's what you wanted. You just needed a buy-in from me, and I gave you the buy-in that you need. And now it makes you, and now you want to make it as if forces. Look, let's be honest here. As human beings, when a person forces you on something, there's police stations in each and every community. How about Foster? The day to an opportunity, we have a police station. And how not go Foster or go Foster or get retirement? Why is it that other women have the partners how Foster or I'm not advertising them, but I reckon Savannah. Why is it that in that regard, this I want as forced? Or that force doesn't work? Or how mama male based how to but I know it looks like a crash. But on things that you want, it's convenient for you to say, yeah, I'm forced. That is wrong. I think our laws need to be more strict. People must make long-term decisions sober, and they must accept full responsibility where they make decisions emotional. If I decide to blindly say, hey, I'm in love with Refusal, and Refusal one shy, and I'm just thinking I'm in love with Refusal, and I decide to give Refusal all my money, and Refusal tomorrow leaves me for a man she believes is her type, I must accept that I was fooled. Similarly with another, if you find that a guy has dealt with you must agree that life is a give and take, and here and there we're going to be fooled in one way or the other. If it hasn't happened, it will happen. We've all been through that.
Hey, man, for some people it takes like a level of maturity to accept or accept.
No,
guys,
I accepted, and not a lot of people even know that there was a relationship where they thought, hey, this man is over the moon. I'm better.
Guys,
What
can I tell you?
cousin, Papa? Have you ever been introduced to Kwakwanyan? I'm the big D. And there's a cousin.
Guys,
Yes.
please stop that because men do that to girls all the time where you introduce them to your mothers and your mother is there pretending with the girl until she knows there's a favorite girl.
Listen here, the only difference is that men don't cry about it. You won't find me writing on social media that women are trash.
But people deal with
Taking screenshots and saying Refusal said she loves me. Refusal said that's the only
differently. There are men who do that. There are men who break down via vista but not depressed.
Oh what?
Yes.
What's
But they involve the whole world.
They do.
Alena, you
They
guys
post on
tweet
social.
so much.
Are you every man? So can I ask you, are you every man?
Are you everyone?
Are you every man? And if you must think about
I'm a spokesperson.
you are the spokesperson of all men. So
Of
you are every man.
No, I'm a spokesperson.
So which means you are also trash.
No, I'm a spokesperson.
Aye. If
I'm
you
a
are every
spokesperson.
man,
I'm a
I can
spokesperson
now
of
if you are every man,
I'm a
then
spokesperson
we also
of
include you in trash.
I'm a spokesperson of the Paint Men Association. But it's fine. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is what you do. We cook good radio. Looking at your comments on Facebook. Melanie Wanslapo says, listen, I support President Jacob Zuma. We can't call new thugs to order until all the apartheid mafias is brought to justice. Ngamalala must just chill in Kandla and enjoy his youth. Oh, one. Hey, what a lovely comment. Yeah.
Interesting comment.
What a lovely comment. I was actually listening. Let me not maybe say, but yeah, I'll speak about it some other day. But it was a very interesting comment. It's just that it might not be professionally proper, for us to listen to competition and announce it on air. Nonetheless, let's go back to property. And I want us to polish property and get into this interesting story, Sanga Malala in the competition commission. Pratone, ask this for this type of I think it's property is always interesting because this is where we hear the most bizarre and most laughable stories, for people. But yeah, let's jump into it, back into it, my brother.
So guys, also deposits, how deposits can help in that. Let's say now there's an investment property or the investment opportunity you see.
Yeah.
And I want to it's well priced, everything is good, it's got tenants, isha. But then now the problem is that you're not the only one who's buying it. Yeah. So now if you've got a deposit, it actually strengthens your offer to purchase. Because that's where the seller can be like, okay, so as much as both of them are getting bonds, but then also the deposit. So chances are owner might be the one who gets the bond.
Sure.
So what the owner can do he can be like, okay, let your offer be the first offer. And then the second offer will only be subject to the cancellation of your offer. So if your offer doesn't kick in, the second one kicks in. So having a deposit, it lets the owner have that option to weigh the options, weigh the offer to purchase that on the table. Yeah. So by the way, actually a property can have more than one offer, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you're selling a property today.
Yeah.
I come and buy it at 500,000. She can come next to Garage. I know Tony offered 500, but I'm willing to offer 600. Yeah.
So what must I take?
Yeah.
Which one must I take?
Which one must you take?
Yeah.
It's up to you as the seller. Well, okay, are you gonna take this one, or are you gonna put this one in place, or are you gonna do vice versa? But then also, it's mostly directed by what the contract says. Obviously, the contract, if it's via bond, there will be a subjective clause that says this offer is subject to me getting a bond.
Bond
for instance.
approval.
So in this instance, how it would be a thing of her. She would have to wait until I get approval from the bank. In most cases, but okay, I'm given 20, 30 days for me to get a bond approval. So she'll have to wait 30 days. And if I happen not to get the approval, that's when her offer kicks in.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if she's got cash?
So if she's got cash,
yeah.
Some offer to purchases, what they do, there's a clause that says continued marketing, meaning that the agent can continue marketing the property. Therefore, if it happens that there's an offer higher than the current offer, what's going to happen is that the agent has to present that second offer to the first buyer and say, Joe, there's another guy who actually offered this much, 600,000 rand, maybe it's 100,000 rand more than your offer.
Sure.
And then that guy has got maybe 5 to 7 working days. I don't know. It depends on what the contract says. Maybe let's say 5 days, where you've got 5 days to either match up or increase it or for it like delay.
Interesting.
So I'm given that platform to either choose to continue buying this property by offering more or just let it go and the second purchaser can take the offer.
27 after 6. Zona FM 93.6. We're checking your calls. I see we've missed a couple there. Apologies on that. But we'll definitely be checking those calls. You can just keep it ringing there. Trinity.
Yeah, so get deposits. And then another thing about deposit. So here's I don't want to say a bad thing about deposit, but something you guys need to be aware of. So let's say you do make you do offer for a deposit, let's say 200,000 rand.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example of a transaction that I experienced last year, whereby I think I've mentioned it in the show, but I think today will be a good example to just to reiterate it. So what happened was the lady bought the property in January, and then she offered 150,000 rand as deposit.
Yeah.
The rest of the money was going to be done through the bond.
Sure.
Then lockdown happened. So she bought the property in January on the 29th. So let that. Come March, when it was close to registering, lockdown happened. When lockdown happened, now she felt like she could have been downgraded because banning, or she might lose her job.
Yeah.
Hence now she didn't want to continue with buying the property. But then now the consequences to that was that if she now backs out of the deal, the agency and the attorney or the conveyancer can claim their money back. Because now, since she bought it January, the agent could have sold it in February, March, April, or what. But then the fact that you guys kept the offer to purchase, so now we're going to penalize you for that. So from the 150,000 rand, she was going to only be left with plus minus 30,000, whereby the agent's commission was subtracted from there, also the attorney's fees, because they've already done something, but then now you want to back out.
So she continued with it.
So she had to continue with it, actually, because she didn't want to lose that money. So guys, when you make a deposit, that's another important thing. Make sure, like, I think once you have a deposit, it shows what was serious.
Yeah.
Don't just offer the deposit if you're skeptical. Hence, when you shop for property, view as much properties as you can. Then make an offer. Some people make the mistake of just one or two nyana, they make the offer. After making the offer, they discover another one a week later. You see, so to avoid those situations, you should be on the market for maybe, I don't know, 3-4 months, check and then you go. Unless obviously you've been in the game and you understand the market, you understand the area. That's when you can just buy a property from just going on to property 24 and what decide and just make an offer.
Interesting.
So I think that's where I'll close it for today.
Before we go to the legal expectant, we're going to check what's happening on Twitter. I see Julius Malema is still trending there, and the gorgeous Mbali as well is trending. So I'm going to start with that Julius Malema there with his trends there. And it's so funny. So the meeting of Julius Malema, it's actually confirmed for this weekend. When Molekwa says, Montling Gugubele once said this to Julius, or rather to Julius Malema. The question is, I don't know what is your position, and my conviction about you is that anything that gratifies you is your position. Anything that speaks about you is your position. Anything that puts something in your pocket is your position. Lukhona Mnguni says, this is how political parties die. Julius Malema requests you with Zuma, and EFF members feel obliged to defend something they have absolutely no idea. They believe in the supremacy of the leader and demand very little accountability. Did Malema upstage Bongozi Kanye? Sure. There's nothing special about Julius Malema. Andy Lumisa says there are open communication between former ANC President Jacob Zuma and former ANC Youth League President Julius Malema has left reactional forces bitter, especially whites and black mascots are in tears. Unity amongst Africans comes first. Sure, I see various media houses as well are tweeting about it. Tea with Zuma, Julius Malema's tweet raised eyebrows yesterday. And Menzo Peru as well says Stratcom is already having sleepless nights before Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma even meet. Whew. Malema meets Zuma. So Julius Malema is going to be having with Zuma. Why? Okay, yeah, I think it's she meant tea, which is wild. And Super Solo says the best way to describe the scenes around Julius Malema wanting to meet Jacob Zuma. Only in Africa will thieves be regrouping to loot again, and the youths whose future is being stolen will be celebrating it. This was by Nobel Prize winner, Professor Akiwande Sonyika. Interesting. It is only fair to admit that as RET forces and people who love Zuma, indeed, we appreciate Julius Malema's intervention. We can only hope they agree on something this weekend. Amazing. Let's check the gorgeous Mbali. Gorgeous Mbali is a hardworking queen. She's brilliant. Who is this gorgeous Mbali?
Oh, some girl on Instagram.
She's amazing, eh?
She has her own makeup line, and now I think the thing she must have started a new business. I know she was going to announce something about starting a new business.
Oh, but okay, type this out now, so
I get what you mean. In what sense?
Ba push.
Yeah, she's hardworking.
Okay, Maragana when I type here when I get
hardworking.
Ke batla go rompolele gore go a o jahela kgotsa ba nyala.
93.6
ele papa re filo a re o batla o tseba bafana ba phedi ba nyala ore ba faten setana. 3 minutes after 7 o'clock, Fatin said, King Don Father.
Come on, accept, come on,
Vamos a dating. Independent. Yeah. I asked him, I'll show you our WhatsApp. I'll show you WhatsApp where I'm asking him how much each month he has not come for. But what I did is, when I came recently, I paid out room 912. Because I'm still waiting for him. He hasn't got back to me. I don't know what is the problem. Yeah, because I've been following him since last year.
Okay, thank you.
You make me every time like I'm asking myself to remember.
But I think December.
Oh wow, thank you. Let's continue. How's your day?
So good. Just let me find your beautiful for man.
Oh wow. Okay.
That guy, man. It's not everyone of you are alive on air.
From 912 weekdays on Tshwane FM 93.6.
It's 40 minutes after 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for your listening pleasure. If you just jumped in, we are Tshwane FM 93.6. This is the station that continues to rock you most. The name of the show is The Capital Talk. And on tonight's edition of The Capital Talk, we're discussing issues around property and further going to be touching now on the legal minds. That is the legal segment of the show where we're looking at various groundbreaking stories in the legal fraternity with our blonde lawyer. That is the lovely Refilwe. What's her name? Refilwe Lechaba. And today it's her father's birthday.
Yes.
Do you want us to sing for him, or you've got?
No, I already sang for him.
Okay. Do what you need to do for your father first, and then we can get to the business.
No, let's do it later.
Let's do it later.
Yeah.
Or you promise him later.
No, I just
You like later things, ne? Okay,
Wow.
41 after 7 o'clock. Let's jump into it.
No.
Are we starting with the commission or are we starting with Tata?
We can start with the commission.
Let's jump into the commission.
That's pretty simple. We've all seen how expensive garlic and ginger have gotten. 1 kg is like $4.99 at Spar. And not just Spar, but everywhere else. In fact, you even struggle to get it in other shops. It's actually quite difficult to get it. And I think it's because people have heard about how if you mix garlic, ginger, cayenne pepper, and orange juice, it's a good concussion for COVID and whatnot. Not that it cures COVID, that's something we also need to clear with people. But the Competition Commission has obviously received complaints from the public, and people, like, you can actually do that. I don't know if people know that you can actually, if you feel that prices have gone up basically and you feel it's an issue, you can actually, they have a WhatsApp line, an email address that you can send your photos, your information, or your complaints to, and then they will investigate it. And essentially what happens is, when the commission investigates, they'll obviously look at why the prices went up. So far, they are already saying that they don't think the fact that it's in demand does not warrant a price increase to 499 per kg. Sure. That's ridiculous. They've already said that outright, but they are obviously currently investigating. But I should make it clear that investigations, what it simply means is they're going to investigate, probably find all these shops guilty, your Spar, your Pick and Pay, they did the same thing. Then they'll probably be fined millions, and then they'll be told reduce the prices, which will happen. So for the consumer, it's not like you're going to get anything amazing. Just
can't you go back with our sleeps?
No, and I was going to say, please, you can't go back with your sleep.
But is that not unfair? That's unconstitutional.
How is it unconstitutional?
It's not right. I mean, it's being what President Thabo Mbeki was saying the other time, that people want to act like Umgodoi, where they take where they want to then take advantage of the poor status of our people. Our people are suffering, they're in dire need, and they are taking their little
the money that
penny.
they charged you, they're gonna pay it back to the commission. They're gonna pay the penalties to the commission.
But why is it not paid back to me? Because it is not the commission that.
Because if they have to. Can you imagine how much of I always say, in fact, it was a discussion I had with somebody last week where when a tribunal or a court or anybody with powers to make a decision thinks about a decision, they're going to make the most practical decision, the most lawful and practical decision.
Yeah.
And I was saying this to somebody where legislation was declared unconstitutional. But because of the impracticality that it was going to cause through the tender system, what they said is, but we're giving you, the minister, a year to correct your mistake. But whilst you are still correcting your mistake, this unlawful law will still be applicable. But we are allowing you, because if they were to say this law is unlawful retrospectively, it will cause a huge debacle within the system where billions of rands would have an impact on the economy, and now to reverse every single person's decision would not make. So when people make when judges make decisions, yes, they have to make a lawful decision, but they also consider practicalities. It will not be practical for each and every single person to come there with a script to say, so what is the most practical thing to say? You are going to be charged the penalty of, remember it happened with Discam also when it came to sanitizers.
Yeah.
You are going to
in 2020.
Exactly, you are going to pay a penalty of 25 million rand. In fact, that 25 million rand, the money is often used for outreach programs. It's not like the commission takes the money and says, let's chow the money, for outreach programs to employ interns and whatnot. So at the commission, to make the work
Where's
of the
the money
commission,
for PPEs?
It's not the commission's problem. Ask your government where the money for PPEs
I'm saying, Refilo, if I went to buy a lemon and it cost 2 rand and I was charged 8 rand or 10 rand, in the same manner that I went to buy it, it is in the same manner that the company should be able to say, we've charged you 2 rand and 10 rand for something that costs 2 rand. The option is you can either get something else here or get that 8 rand refund.
Unfortunately, it's not.
And we cannot say it's difficult because of, look, that 25 million, if they have it, it means that they do have our money. They must return our money.
But you know that the 25
then-
million they don't pay. Also, can I just say
It's like a change.
Okay, let me ask you this. When you go to Pick and Pay and a lemon is 25 rand, right, and you decide to buy it at 25 rand, it is your prerogative to buy it at 25 rand, right?
I'm cornered.
No, because you John, because you
So
could have
like
gone to the man
shop,
at the
no?
street and bought it. You could have
They
gone
didn't
to.
have it.
You could have exactly. It is your choice. You made the decision.
I was dying.
No,
Because of COVID, we had to buy lemons. We had to
you
buy
made
what?
your choice to buy it. So for them, it's we are trying to curb. We are offering a solution, and the solution is you're going to reduce the price. We've caught you out. Reduce the price. Normal prices. Pay a penalty that is going to go to other outreach programs, to the work of the tribunal, and then make sure that you don't repeat your mistakes.
But if, let's say, for instance, the fine is going to be 25 million,
Mm.
how sure are they that these companies did not make more than $1 billion on this?
Yeah, but obviously, when they determine the penalty, they take into consideration profit margin. So that penalty is not just something they dump some sucker of them saying I'm gonna take. They look at your turnover. The penalties are determined by turnover.
Of that specific
Yes,
product.
of the specific of the specific entity. So they're going to exactly. So it's actually the punishment is very severe for them because they don't look at the product. They don't say you made 5 million from lemons and which you were over costing. They look at the annual turnover. That is why no company wants to get hit with penalties by the commission because they look at annual turnover. That is why this came was also saying, and that is why most companies, when they are found guilty, they actually don't want to take it on and go to the tribunal. They normally say, we'll settle, we'll give you 10 million, because they know that if they have to, the tribunal has to now sit down and calculate on the annual turnover. It will be billions. So what most of them do, even this came settled. They went to the tribunal to say they'll get lawyers and say, listen, we know we are wrong. We know, but we don't want to, because if they do annual turnover, it's going to hit us hard. So tell them that we are.
Why do they do it? Why do they do it?
Why do they what?
Why do they increase these prices? Why is that so?
Because it's like a dog that wants to bite you. It knows that there are chances that it might actually get you or it might not get you. So they don't. It's a thing of we have nothing. Some of them think, well, we might as well do it. Maybe nobody. It's a thing of maybe nobody will notice and they won't complain. But unfortunately, people have become very vigilant. You're not gonna buy garlic for $4.99 per kilogram.
I think they need to go to clothing stores as well. And
No, they do school uniforms. Remember there was a school uniform one?
yeah.
It was a school uniform one. They actually.
Clothing stores, they must look at this. Some clothes, go Mr. Price. It's cheap. It's cheaper, but it's the same design. Go this other shop, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's the same design.
But their quality.
Did man.
But quality. But it's also your choice. I get it. You if you want to go to Mr. P instead of going to Zara. So
I want it. I want to be like the kids next door.
Go to guys. Ultimately, it's about what you
the
have.
price must be the same.
Stay in your lane, guys. There's nothing as more important in life as staying in your lane. Hey? It's so important. If you cannot afford Zara, don't force to buy Zara.
Speaking about someone that is so good at staying on his lane, it's Jacob Zuma. He's just at his Nkandla lane. He reminds me of the current deputy president. He's becoming a deputy. I was telling people that Merakwa deputy, the main one, Halisiko. Then you come in.
Become the
this guy, he doesn't have a role yet. He's a deputy.
Yeah, then you become the egg dog when the main dog.
He's a substitute.
Yes.
How Ramaphosa out of the country? He's the acting president.
Yeah.
So Ramaphosa doesn't get sick. He doesn't leave the country. So this man.
In fact, sometimes even they make another minister acting president and not the deputy. If he's not available, also.
Sure.
If he's sick, they make a minister.
Yeah, they must make his deputy then. All right. Let's speak about Ubaba. There's an interesting comment here by Melanin One Club, and I think we read it.
Yeah.
Very interesting about Baba's decision, and Julius Malema will obviously be having tea with him. But there's a lot of people that are thinking Ubaba wasn't the right. What do you make of it? I know that the commission's secretary did advise him to think thoroughly about this thing because of these were allegations, but now he's doing what is unlawful, but furthermore indicating that him not coming forth then creates a problem for him. And also stating that people like Isma Khashule who are saying they must leave him alone.
He hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, they're also creating a problem.
Which is absurd. For me, I think the most, I sometimes think whoever is advising this man is not giving him the right advice. So if somebody makes allegations about you, wouldn't you want to go and answer them? Yeah, prove them wrong. Even if you know you're going to lie, well, lying under oath is an offense. But wouldn't you want to go to? I mean, even today, this Makosa lady said some brutal things about him. I would want to go and defend myself. All of these people who went to the commission solely did it because allegations are being levied against you. Any right-minded and sound person would want to go and say, but it's a lie. I did this, and put your version forward. So for him to come and play victim in society about how he's being victimized, and yet he's actually getting special treatment. Nobody else has been tasked and taken to. And what is more annoying is even at the Concord, he didn't defend himself. He didn't even have a legal rep at the Concord. So he said he's not taking part in those proceedings. Why didn't he actually go to the Concord and tell the Concord that he's being victimized?
Sure.
Right? So for me, it makes no sense why you are a victim, you are being victimized, but you don't want to go and answer and tell them how you are being, go to the commission and tell them how you are being victimized.
But here's Melanie Nwansapo saying, why do we start with Kazuma? What about those that came before him?
Yeah. Where are they? Who's going to hold them accountable? What, guys, can I... But who... Okay, great. Somebody then must start that commission I always say, guys, there's no way that the apartheid government didn't have corruption. It had corruption, but the system allowed them to do it because there was nobody to question them. White people had power. There was no black person to come and say, hey, Refusal, let's conduct the commission. Nobody had those type of powers at that time. What I always said that there's no way that there's no corruption during the apartheid.
But the black people
it was severe, and we know it was there.
Black people are in power now. They have corruption. What's about questionable?
Because it is blatant, it is there, and you know what? Let's all be honest, right?
Yeah.
White people's corruption was better.
Were you there?
I'm not saying I was there, but it was not as mediocre as it is now. South Africa is on a...
maybe we were not as woke as you are.
No, it's mediocre. You guys have to admit that. I always say it, and I'm black and I love being black. But the thing about black people don't know when to stop. Yeah. We chow. It's actually...
We're like the puppy.
It's actually disgusting. Guys, more than anything for me, it's disgusting because at least 100,000, but no. But at least 600,000, they want to eat the whole 600,000. You get a tender, at least pay banyan, to make people think, since he's doing something. You know what they're going to do? They're going to buy Maseratis, buy houses in Zalito, why did one person have so many houses? Like, ask yourself for it. Why do you really need those cars? Do you really need to have 5 Porsches, the Maserati, that you hardly even drive?
I need to hate you. You're my ex from primary.
Do you consider where they come from? They have nothing.
Exactly, and that is the problem, that when you have nothing, you have never had something, you don't know how to control yourself and how to limit yourself. And that is why it's sometimes better to have somebody to say, stop. And unfortunately, we don't have that. I mean, for example, look at Gauteng, sanitizer 200, 2 liter, 300 to sanitize schools.
You can have 200 million, eh?
Yeah, and the sanitizer 2 liter was 300 rand. Sanitizer. No, 2 liter can be 300 rand. I'm sure.
How much?
2 liter, isn't it, Buma, one something? 300 rand.
Something if you buy those ones from those manufacturers.
Yeah.
Oh, but I need toilet paper. I give them 14,
25
rand.
25 rand. Toilet paper. One ply. Rand. Then 151. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I think we need to be honest as a country that the tender system does not work. The tender, yes, it was created to empower, but it is actually now destroying.
So, if you're legit, don't know about that.
Yeah, it's being misused.
It's being misused. The tender system, and I mean, now we didn't get the tender. Now you have to get a tender. You have to pay 100,000 to get a tender. So, you know what? Back to Jacob Zuma, I don't understand why somebody who against whom allegations are made is not for, and he's been given the opportunity, and he's actually getting special treatment more than anybody, because they have to actually beg him Everybody else was summoned. People were told, you're going to appear with the commission on this day. You have to submit an affidavit by this day. Everybody complied. But yet we have this one man who everybody has to beg. And you know what also is painful? Mediocrity on part of his supporters. Where I even saw where one supporter of his was so mediocre, and you actually read his comment. He's a well-known politician, the one who was arrested and recently.
Longisa.
He said the dumbest thing, and I thought, wow, at least the least you could have done was to ask a legal expert to help you. He said they're going to appeal the Constitutional Court decision, and I thought to myself, wow, who are you going to appeal it with? Because the Constitutional Court is the highest court in the land. You can appeal their decisions. They are the it. Once they say something must be done, it has to be done.
They'll appeal it with the ANC.
Yeah. Well, clearly the ANC is not going to do something. I mean, we have the Secretary General who's saying Zuma has done nothing wrong, where you have a former president of a country who seems to believe that he's above the rule of law. The law does not apply to him. It applies to everybody else. You peasants down there, it applies to you. But me, it doesn't apply to me, a former president who thinks he's above the law. So technically, Jacob Zuma is telling all of you, the law doesn't apply to me. It applies to all of you peasants down there, but it doesn't apply to me. I don't have to listen to anybody.
Let's look at it legally quickly. What is he facing? What could be?
He's possibly facing imprisonment or a fine, and they'll definitely push for imprisonment to make it more severe, because it's usually a 6-month imprisonment if you're in contempt of court, or a fine, depending on how much the court.
So after the imprisonment, what then will happen?
That he'll go to jail for 6 months, he'll be contempt of court, and then he'll be told that he has to appear.
If he still doesn't want to appear,
then he'll keep going back to jail for contempt of court. It'll be a vicious cycle where it just got contempt.
So will you get special treatment at prison, or be as other citizens?
Probably get special treatment. I mean, even your guy from Atrid will get special treatment in jail.
Who's that?
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Even a guy at the corner, they're eating Nando's in jail, and you're like,
is the Atrid guy out?
I don't even know. Hey, I have never really followed that story. I don't know, but I think he's still there.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, even Oscar is getting special treatment. He's now a priest preaching for people in Atridville prison.
He has special needs as well. He's a special somebody. 58 minutes after 58 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is where we wrap it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap it up, do you want to do Teddy's birthday?
No, yes. I just want to say happy birthday to my dad. What else, man? Thank you for being the best dad in the whole wide world. We love you. My dad is the best dad, guys. Everybody says it. So.
Are you crying?
No, I'm not crying.
Okay.
But yeah, he's the best dad. Everybody says it. I've had to share my parents. My entire life, I've had to share my parents with other people, because those are the type of parents I had. And everybody, I saw how much my parents have had such a huge impact on people's lives today and constantly when the messages came in. So we love my dad. Everybody loves him. He's the best.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So
and I just wanted to say, guys, the fact that resisted levels are lockdown doesn't mean corona is gone. Please wear your mask. We can't be working. When I drove here, I was seeing people without the mask, drinking Can we please be responsible?
I think
please.
If they were drinking, you were more jealous than concerned.
Wow. Now I don't drink alcohol, by the way. Thanks.
Okay, and so just about your dad, what are some of the fondest memories that you have of you and him when you were young?
I always tell people, my dad, and in fact, one of my friends said it today. She said, I actually envy the type of, I have my dad, but I envy the type of relationship you have with your dad. My dad was always there, like every prize giving, parent. In fact, because my mom was sick most of the time with cancer, my dad had to play mother and dad role. So he was always there for prize giving. I would know that if I look out there, he's gonna be there. Wow. Literally, that's the dad I have. If I tell my dad now, I want to travel, he's going to make sure that I travel. So my fondest memory is everything I know, I got it from that man.
So if you were to tell him that you want a boyfriend, was he?
Yeah, he'll buy a guy now for me. If I told him I want a rich man, go find him for me. My dad, that's the type of dad I have.
So how long has your dad been without your mom?
For 7 years this year.
And Hajul?
No, he probably does have a partner, and for me, that's the most beautiful thing. My dad has such utmost respect for us that he has never brought anybody home to say, this is whoever I'm seeing. We know that he probably, in fact, my mom's family always says, and that is what I love about my dad. He's still very in touch with my mom's family, attends all of the events. He still supports them the same way that he did when my mom was still alive.
Oh.
So, and they even say, no, it's my sister and I who are not allowing him to get married. He must get married. In fact, they were pushing him get married, and he's like, I don't want to get married. So for me, it's the respect for his kids, and he's always maintained. He's like, he will never ever bring another woman into my mother's house.
So were they sort of high school sweethearts?
Yeah, they got married quite young. In fact, no, they were not high school sweethearts, but they met in varsity. My mom was doing her first year of education, and then my dad was in the defense force.
Oh, wow.
And that's how they met. So my dad has been in the defense force from Tshwane and then moved into South Africa.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
For your mom.
Wow. Yeah, technically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Papa, how?
No. Probably he does have somebody that he's seen, and he has said, listen, I'm seeing this lady, she also has older kids, she was also married but divorced. We know her name, we know where she lives, but he's never said, we've never seen this lady coming to the house and say, hey, I'm your stepmom.
This is me.
Yeah. So yeah.
Papa, how?
Dead of the
Everybody says it, guys. Everybody, all my friends. Also, my friends come over, and he's dead of the year. He loves my friends. He loves everybody. So
here's
dead
a
of
song
the year. Yes.
to your dad.
Thank you.
All hits, all day, and it's all yours.
You must get this why you dance for it.
No, that's the song to my dad.
Yeah, this is where you dance. You want to take it?
Dance for it. I don't dance, guys. I don't dance.
Yeah, but you get something.
I don't dance.
Your own record. We'll give you a little before we give you anything that's like me, you have to say
Sometimes I want to wrong, but I never stop trying to be your number one. I want to show you I'll be strong in you. When I grow up, I'll still look up to you. So I will feel I will be my daddy boy. I love you, daddy. You are my hero. You're always in my dreams. I love you, daddy. Oh, daddy. You are my superstar.
It's 8:10. It's 8:08. That was Ricardo and Friends. Is the song titled "I Love You Dead." And this one we dedicated to Refusal's dead, and we say "Achole achochobe." May the Lord grant him more years of grace, wisdom, good health, more love, girlfriend, allowance,
child allowance,
and grandchildren.
Yeah, yes. He's complaining about that every day. All of us.
Kana, how many siblings you have?
One.
It's your sister.
Yes.
She's married, right?
No, my sister's not married.
How old is your sister?
32.
And you?
I'm turning 30 this year.
Hey, man, 20.
Yeah, so my dad, over that grandchildren,
Yeah,
so
I'm obviously out of the market, 20, but
guys, I'm not in the market for marriage and kids. So yeah, no.
When we've accepted that you're a lost case. Look, about your sister, I'm not for instance.
Yeah.
Very between you and her, who might give the first grandchild?
Actually, me.
Not your sister.
No.
Joel.
She's more. She does, but she's very career driven, and she's
which industry is it?
Commerce, and she's really pushing a certain agenda. And before she gets that, I don't see it happening. But my dad has extended grandchildren. My neighbor has 2 beautiful kids who call my neighbor calls my dad Papa. Because that's like I said, that's the type of people.
Yeah, but we can bring Tony into the equation to solve Ilaya Uswaha, because we've accepted who you are.
But Tony, my star, I said chicken man, I'm Tony.
No, Tony, how old are
you? That young.
Don't sell yourself.
Yeah, he's young.
Look, dynamite comes in small packages.
Tony is young.
So to bari, Homuze Hulu, the and then Tamani money, so meaning that the big cows are for small boys. Yeah. The small cows are from the older ones. So it's
Tony's young.
So I'm gauging you. I'm already speaking the Papa Refuel because he's listening to the show now. Yeah. So you can just grant him his wish. You know? We're gonna make it a point that you speak to also Refuel. We know that you guys are in the same space. This one.
Guys, I'm gonna go on a dating show even.
My younger brother who are 18.
I'm gonna go on a dating show. SABC3 is doing some dating show, so I'm gonna go there.
Please don't embarrass us because we're going to about that poor guy does he understand the anti-nuptial contract.
I'm going.
This is what I'm trying to. We don't want you to embarrass us and embarrass your father. Don't do that.
My dad wants me to go.
This is the problem. You know what? Remain ubata chelete because that's what you want. Anyway, it's 11:08. Thank you so much for joining us. We're back again next week, same time, same place. Nighttime team is coming through between now and midnight. Yes, sir. Yeah. I think let people live, love, and laugh.
And be safe.
Be safe.
Yeah.
As Refila was saying, but take care of yourselves
and sanitize and wear your mask.
Exactly.
What is your response to their criticism?
But if you
010-382-4936. That's 012-382-493.6.
Mr. Zuma, the fact that you took a shower after having unprotected sex with an HIV positive woman, believing that it would minimize